In case you didn't notice it, you've just been isekai'd. And for better or for worse, you're starting your new life in a new world. And in case you don't know what an isekai is, the term is generally defined as someone who gets transported or reincarnated to a new or different world. But the thing about isekai is that there's been thousands of anime that have watered down the once unique genre, and it ranges all the way from opening a restaurant in a new world to speedrunning Dark Souls with Subaru. But which MC actually had the best reincarnation? The first MC we'll be taking a look at has to be Lou from that anime with an unnecessarily long name. In Lou's previous life, he was the world's finest assassin, and after a long life of working hard for his organization as an assassin, he finally finished his last hit. And when he thought it was all over and he could live a normal life, he ended up getting assassinated by the organization that raised him. And it was honestly in a pretty unique way that I haven't seen before. The organization put explosives in the cockpit to kill the pilots, making the plane crash in the process. But instead of dying, he found himself standing in front of this goddess who told him that he could either be reborn onto Earth with none of his memories, or be reborn into her world with all of his memories. But of course there's a catch, since without the catch there would be no anime. Lou was tasked with killing the hero of the goddess's world, but only after the hero had saved the world, and he was given a time frame to carry out this final assassination before he could live a normal life. And he also got to choose his own perks to spawn with, which is a huge bonus because since Lou is so smart, he perfectly paired all his perks to match his build. And I haven't seen a lot of isekais that go into this much detail after the MC's death. And as the series progresses, you, the viewer, finds out that Lou wasn't the only person to be reincarnated. Because since the goddess really wanted the hero dead, she's been summoning people from Earth that were the best in their given profession. Seeing that Lou wasn't just the only special person to be reincarnated gave this anime a slight touch of realism, since you see that Lou wasn't extremely special and someone that the goddess had their eye on their whole life. And because of these factors, World's Finest Assassin has to get an A on this tier list. Next up is Kirito, and I wasn't actually sure if I wanted to put this in the video, but after looking it up, Sword Art is technically considered an isekai by Google standards, so here we are. Sword Art is one of the first animes I've ever seen, and I'm still unsure whether Kirito had a good isekai or not. The basis of the storyline is that Kirito, our MC, bought this new super cool game that puts your human consciousness into the VR headset, and everyone loved this game when it first came out. But after initially enjoying the game, one of the side characters named Klein went to log out, only to realize that, uh-oh, the logout button's missing. And after taking a look at the menu for himself, Kirito thought it must have been some sort of glitch, only for it to get revealed that the game's creator wanted it to be that way and removed the logout button to trap every player in the game, and that any attempt to remove the VR headset would result in the player's death, both in the game and in real life. And here's where I wasn't sure if this anime is considered an isekai. While the player's conscious might get trapped inside of the game, their human body is still alive and still needs nutrients to survive. And since later in the series, Kirito Solo is the last boss, who also turned out to be the game's creator, everyone was allowed to leave the game and log out. But I'm gonna consider this anime an isekai and rank it at a solid C tier, which is pretty generous given the circumstances. Now, one of my favorite animes is called No Game No Life, and I know, it can be a little weird at some parts, but the first episode puts so much detail into their MCs and how they got transported to their world. No Game opens with our two MCs, Sora and Shiro, sitting in a dark room where they've been playing video games for the past 5 days with no sleep, until they receive a weird email from an unknown person. Brother and sister, have you ever felt like you were born into the wrong world? And after being initially shocked by the email, Sora decides to click the link sent by the unknown person just to see what would happen.
Chess.
And as it turns out, Sora and Shiro were being challenged to a game of chess from what they thought was a program. And after an unreasonably long explanation of chess, they start to take on the challenge, only to realize it was a real person they were playing against. Oh, they won the match, by the way. But after winning the match, they got sent another email from the same unknown person. Well done. If you're this good at games, what do you think about your world? Is it fun? Is it easy to live in? If there was a world where simple games decided everything, a world on a board where the rules and goal were clear, what would you think about that?
そんな世界があるなら、俺たちは生まれる世界を間違えたわけだ。なんだ？
僕もそう思う。君たちはまさしく生まれる世界を間違えた。ならば僕が生まれ直させてあげよう。君たちが生まれるべきだった世界に。ようこそ僕の世界へ。なんだ
I think it's pretty safe to say this anime is ranking extremely high on this list. No game has one of the most unique ways of being isekais that I've ever seen. Different to the truck reincarnations, different to the summoning reincarnations, different to every isekai that I've seen in the genre. This anime, albeit weird in certain parts, has the most unique and most enjoyable experience to watch as a viewer, and without a doubt deserves an S+, maybe even S++ if I'm allowed to rank it that high. Now next up, we're going to be taking a look at the one and only... Oh, hang on, I think I'm getting a call. Hello? What's that? You said you're looking for the perfect Discord to talk about anime? Well, as luck would have it, me and Kazi made a Discord just so everyone can hang out and talk about anime. You and everyone watching should consider joining it. And if you subscribed, it would also help me make more content like this. Now with the recent release of ReZero's new season, I thought it would have been nice to include Subaru in this list. Can you imagine yourself going to a gas station to get snacks, then walking outside, rubbing your eyes, and being transported into this medieval-esque world with animal people and magic? Because that's exactly what happened to Subaru. And to someone who's seen the full anime, it makes sense what happened to Subaru since you know the full story. But as someone who's watching ReZero for the first time, it can be extremely confusing on what happened and why it happened in the first place. Me and Kazi, someone who I constantly mention on this channel, had a conversation about this specific isekai, and we went over just how confused a new viewer would be watching this for the first time, which in turn might make a viewer not want to continue through the episodes and figure out what happened or why it happened. ReZero probably had the most realistic reincarnation that would be most likely to happen in real life, and as I was digging deeper into the storyline of ReZero, it was revealed to me that Subaru's parents never actually figured out where he went. So after years of being in this alternate world, his parents are still frantically searching for Subaru, not knowing everything that's happened to him. If this video was based off of realism, I would give it an S tier since it goes more in depth than I initially thought, but since this list is purely based off of how our MCs got isekai'd, I'm gonna have to place Subaru at an F tier.